The London Heathrow Airport. That's where my month of November started and where my month of November ended. Hello, my name is Darren. I am a dad. I am an airline pilot. I am a husband of a scientist. And a little bit different kind of a wrap-up video this time. I'm going to show you my whole month of November, and I'm going to show you the trips I did, kind of my schedule, including my reserve days that I didn't have to go to work, when I did have to go to work, and then how I was able to string in a vacation, I fit a vacation into my month by actually using any vacation days. So sit back. I hope to make this video interesting to look at and easy to understand. There are a lot of numbers coming on the screen. They'll be on the screen for a long time, plenty of time to read them, pause if you need to, and follow along. So my month of November started with, of course, the first of the month. I was on reserve the first day. They didn't use me. It was 11 a.m. wrap, so I got paid to sit at home. On the second, I was used. It was a 4:15 p.m. sign-in to head to London. It was an FO trip, and I made my best landing of my career on a 777 in London that morning of the 3rd. There's no record of it because YouTube, we arrived so early, the YouTube guys weren't even recording yet. I couldn't find it anyway. But if you find Flight 50 on November 3rd, that was me. A nice long overnight. And then I left on the 4th. It was about a 9:25 departure. Got back to Dallas at 1:50 p.m. on the 4th, same day. Again, that trip was worth 19 hours and 30 minutes worth of credit. I was away from base for 47 hours and 8 minutes total. Again, that was an FO trip. Now, after that trip, I was off on the 5th through the 9th, or actual days off. And then on the 10th, I was on reserve again, and I got hit with a 4-day trip through Miami. This was a Santiago trip. And then again, there's also a video about this one if you want to watch the whole video, but it was a day head to Miami, fly to Santiago. Again, it was an FO trip, a 36-hour overnight down there. Then red eye back to Miami, getting in early in the morning in Miami. Now, contractually, they have to put me in the rest right away. They gave me a hotel room for the day. In reality, I went home right away. So on paper, I was away from base for 76 hours and 17 minutes, but it was more like, 66 hours and 17 minutes because I came home early that day. Now, total credit for the trip was 23 hours and 3 minutes. If you remember, London was 19 hours and 30 minutes. So this was only an extra 4 hours and 30 minutes from being, for the credit, but I was away from base for a whole extra day. So not really a productive trip as far as I'm concerned for reserve goes. But it is what it is. And that was my second trip of the month for November. So they didn't use me on the 14th or the 15th. On the 16th, I had a 7-day conflict. I needed a day off on paper. Then on the 17th, I was on reserve again. And again, 17th and 18th and 19th, I was on reserve. And they didn't use me until the 19th. And then I got that surprise Buenos Aires trip. Again, another 4-day trip. Not ideal, but the way that trip is built, it is almost like a 3-day trip. Because I didn't sign in until 8 o'clock at night. So signed in at 8 o'clock at night, flew down to Buenos Aires, 34-hour overnight, very long overnight, and then a red eye back to DFW. This trip again was worth 21 hours and 48 minutes with time away from base at 59 hours and 2 minutes. So again, these 4-day trips don't look that great on paper because it's not worth much more than a 3-day London trip. So is what it is. Now, when I got back from this Buenos Aires trip, that's when my fun started. So I got back early that morning, and the next day I went to the LA Auto Show. I am a huge car guy. I love cars, and I use my flight benefits to go to car shows a lot. Pre-COVID, I would go to the minimum of 2 car shows a year, sometimes 3 or 4 car shows every single year. Most time I do them in a day trip. I went to the Frankfurt Motor Show years ago, but that was an overnight. Anyway, I took the second flight out of Dallas to LA, got a nice window seat on an Airbus. Once in LA, I went in my Toyota Camry from National Rental Car. First one was all cigarette smoked out. Didn't notice it right away. Had to return it. A little bit of annoying. Got another Toyota Camry. Got to the auto show, and it was okay. It was different than it normally is. It used to be. Porsche is a huge manufacturer for California. They always had their own personal room. And this year, they had like a hallway from the local Porsche dealers. West Coast Customs was in their normal spot. That was weird. And a lot of even the big manufacturers weren't even in LA this year. No, there was no Porsche, as I said, no Mercedes, no BMW, no Audi. It was different. And then like Tesla, who's never at the auto show, they haven't been here since 2017 when they had the Model 3 being introduced. They were here. It was a different vibe. But I enjoyed myself. I can walk around car shows for hours on end. I did go downstairs and look at the custom vehicles from Alan Ed's normally, and then they had custom bikes here this year. That was different. Once I was done there, I went outside. I did one test drive. That's one perk of the LA Auto Show is you can test drive cars. I test drove the Polestar 3, a little bit quirky, kind of fun. Then I did the California thing. I went to the In-N-Out Burger by the airport and watched some airplanes land. Kind of fun. Then I kind of started looking at my flight back. It was wide open, and then suddenly it was not wide open, and I'm like, well, thankfully I have a jump seat. But yeah, I got to the airport, headed to the Admirals Club, and I did a short little take right here about my non-rev experience.
Well, this is non-rev life. When I listed for this flight a couple days ago, it was wide open. Like I had like 40 open seats. So I wasn't concerned. I used a regular pass type. I could have used a high priority pass, but I'm like, I can use a normal pass, even though I have 6 passes. High priority that expire at the end of the year, and I haven't used any of them yet, but whatever. Um, yeah. So now it has one open seat. Now it's an Airbus, so worst case scenario, I'll be in a jump seat. But the top 2 non-revs didn't get on the last flight. That's like leaving this pushback. Um, and they have no split next to their name. Like no split. Like they don't want to split. So yeah, don't get a jump seat or a real seat. It's my choice. I did make a last minute decision to put on slacks. I was gonna wear jeans to be more comfortable. But I'm like, no, I'll wear a slacks just in case, right? Because being on an airplane in jeans is still weird for me. Um, Even though I can in the cabin, I can't in the jump seat. There's a dress code for jump seats. So we will see. Boarding starts here in about half an hour. I'm betting I'll be in the jump seat, which is fine. It's an Airbus, plenty of room, and again I have just my one bag, so not even a bag. I have just this little satchel thing. So I took one for the team and took the jump seat. Uh, there's a long standby list. A bunch of regular employees and buddy passes are also trying to go to Dallas. And if I take a jump seat, then one more person can get on. So if it was a 7-3, I wouldn't do it because it's not comfortable. But an Airbus is comfortable. There's still a chance I can get a regular seat if they all get seats. And there's still more open seats, but I doubt there will be. So jump seat city, my old Airbus. Good times. So the flight was good. Very interesting being in the Airbus jump seat. I miss the flight deck. I do. It was very comfortable and it was very logical. The captain was just junior to me. That really matters. The FO, he's a couple of years. He's flew for Spirit before this. He's a pretty good Airbus FO. He made a great landing. But yeah, I would much prefer to be in the Airbus jump seat than in the middle seat. If I had taken a real seat, I would have been a 15E or 9E, both middle seats, and the Airbus jump seat is much more comfortable than any middle seat. But yeah, being up front was nicer than being in the middle anyway, because I got to talk to 2 pilots the whole time. We talked the whole way over. We made the whole flight go by really, really quickly. Speaking of the flight, so when we got here, I was, in the jump seat, so I opened the flight deck door, waiting for the shepherd's door to open, and whoever the young man and the wife was that recognized me and said thank you and said keep up the good work, I appreciate it. I am always amazed when people recognize who I am. My wife says I have a very recognizable face and voice, but I wear so many different kind of glasses. I have on my Taylor Swift hat, right? I didn't think anyone would recognize me. And when you do, you make my day, and I'm very surprised. So thank you very much. But that should be it. I made no money in this flight. I'll put how much I spent on the screen. It was a pretty cheap day. But now I'm going to go home, start packing for vacation, and then go pick up my kid from her band. She went to Midland tonight, so that work was not done.
And the very next day was Sunday, and I had booked a cruise for my family out of Galveston, Texas. So we hopped in the family truckster and drove down to Galveston. Again, we do drive all electric cars. People complain about them a lot, but you know what? We stopped one time on the way to Galveston to charge and use the restroom. It was like a normal gas car. Anyway, we had a very nice cruise. It wasn't anywhere special. It was just to Costa Maya and Cozumel, places we've been to many times. Because if you cruise out of Galveston, you're going to Costa Maya or Cozumel. Now, a funny thing happened on the last night of my cruise. I'm in the elevator, I'm standing there, and a guy's looking at me funny. And Yeah, it was Raj, as a follower, and he said, "You're that guy, aren't you?" I said, "Yeah, I'm that guy." It was great to meet you and your wife. I lost a bet because of you. I told I bet my oldest that no one would ever recognize me on this cruise ship, and last night, Raj, you recognized me. Very nice meeting you. Now we did dock the next day early in the morning, and we were off the boat right before 8 o'clock in the morning, like at 7:40, and we were in my car right around 8 o'clock in the morning, which is interesting because I was on reserve that day. Short call reserve starting at 11 a.m. Now, we had strategically planned this out that I had pre-parked my car at the DW airport with my uniform in it and everything ready to go, so that if I could see I was getting a trip that morning, I could have my family. We would stop at one of the two Houston airports, and uh, I would jump seat back home, and they would drive the car home, and I could do my trip. But we got to South Houston where Hobby is, and they hadn't used me yet. And then we kept driving and got to North Houston. They hadn't used me yet. So then I kind of entered the, no zone around like 9 a.m. Thinking, well, I can get to Dallas by 12:30, which would be the earliest they could have me actually use me would be about 1:30 in the afternoon anyway. So we drove all the way to Dallas. Again, we stopped one time to charge. Picked up my car right around 12:45 p.m. At the airport, and then drove back home because at that point I did have a trip. They had me going to London, so got my car, went home, repacked my bag real quick for London. I had plenty of time. I had a 3:20 p.m. actual report time. I'm always early, but 4:20 departure. Headed over to London. Got there the next day. Didn't do anything special. It's cold in London right now anyway. Got back to DFNW, and again, because this trip started in November and ended in December, I get just 9 hours of credit all the way from base for just 47 hours total. So, wrapping it all up for my November compensation, I did get a pay raise. I think it was on the 29th of the month. So, I went from 286.26 an hour to 292.82 an hour. But I was paid 67 hours at my old pay rate for a total of 19,179.42. And then 9 hours, which was the trip to London at 292.82. And that total was 2635.38. My per diem for the month was 563.78. And my international pay is something we do here was 291.08. It was a very busy month. Again, I could have not taken a vacation and picked up more trips, but every now and then it's good to not work and do something else. Now, again, the rest of the London trip will be into my December bid month, which I'm thinking I'm just going to have an annual wrap up for December. Maybe for the whole 2024. I might do just a regular video. We'll see. But I hope this video was enjoyable to you. Again, if you want to support me, I truly appreciate you liking, commenting, and subscribing. I say it a lot, as every YouTuber does, because it does help us quite a bit. But here are my socials. Have a great day, and thank you for stopping by.